And I got the message that I needed to come in. A letter came in the mail that I needed to come in. And I made jokes about it in the shop because majority of the women here was even laughing about it and say, yeah, you got called back over and over. They may even call you back for an ultrasound and call you back for an MRI, but you're going to be fine.
Wow.
So I dragged the process a bit because I was busy. Usually when you're busy, you turn to see what's important and you feel, oh, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. So I went in finally, I did a follow-up to the mammogram, which was an ultrasound, and they called me back to do an MRI. So the MRI, I played with it a bit, I have to admit. It was over a month. And my OBGYN, an older doctor I have, called me and said, if you don't get your butt to that clinic and do this, you're going to be in trouble. So I went.
Wow.
And the MRI was what discovered my cancer.
Okay. So when you discovered that you had cancer at that point, what was your mental, what were you thinking? How did you feel?
Well, in order for them to conclude it was cancer, I needed to do a biopsy.
Okay.
So because the MRI was what detected the cancer, the MRI had to go in and do the biopsy because the cancer was not felt by the human hand. So the lump, my lump was small enough where it wasn't felt by the human hand. So had they neglected the fact that the human hand did not feel it, they would have then allowed my cancer to grow.
Wow.
So then I went in and they did the MRI did a guided biopsy. So then the MRI went in with a needle and pinpointed to the particular area and drew fluid from it, and that fluid was tested and it was confirmed. At that point, they had discovered a total of 4 lumps in my breast, both breasts. So then when the results came back conclusive that I did that particular test, brought back the information that it did have cancer, I then sat down and opened up all my medical records and I read everything thoroughly because I wanted to know why haven't they biopsied the other 3? And because the doctor I saw immediately, the breast surgeon I saw immediately wanted to do surgery right away. And I said, wait, why do you want to take out the lump if you haven't biopsied the others? And then I started to read about information on types of cancers, what type of cancer is it, that I was asking all kinds of questions. So I went into almost like a research mode, a survival mode, to just get me occupied and as much information as possible for me to make the best decision possible for myself.
Wow. Wow. Before we move on, I'm trying to get feedback on here. Someone is saying sound check. Can they hear us? Can you hear us?
All right. Because you can hear it here, right?
Yeah. I just want to make sure that
Because
people...
if you can hear it on Facebook, what you're hearing is what they should be hearing, unless they're saying the sound quality is not the best, but that's a different thing. So,
And if the sound quality is not the best, what do we do? Nothing. Okay, guys.
Okay, they can hear us. All right, moving on. Sorry about that. This is really important. And
Raise
of
your
course,
volume.
if you guys cannot hear us, then what we're doing today is pointless. So
Yes.
at every point, this is a live feed. So at every point, I'll come in and out based on the feedback that we're getting on the screen to make sure that we're good. So Juliet, I know you landed on what you were saying.
Yes.
Anything else to add?
I remember it was the 14th of February.
Valentine's Day.
Yes. My husband was away on a business trip. And I had the flu in the worst way. And I got the call to come into the doctor's office right away. So I went in. How I got home, I don't know.
Wow.
I got home, crawled into bed, and went straight to sleep.
Did you call him?
No.
So how did he find out then?
He came home, and I told him.
How much longer between the time that you found
About
out?
3 days.
Wow.
And a lot went through my mind within that 3 days.
So what was going through your mind?
Wow. I remember looking in my bedroom, just my bedroom, instantly looking in my bedroom when I got home and I laid in the bed and just thinking nothing matters. None of it matters. All the material things, all of the things that we collect, none of it matters. Because if anything happened to me today, I'm not here. Then I started to picture myself not in my home, how it would be if my son walked in the door and I wasn't home. He would not say, hey mom, I'm home. He would just literally walk into wherever and go. So I started to place myself in this out of my self place of what will their life be without me in it at all. And I broke down and cried terribly. And as soon as he got home, I told him.
And what did he say?
You know, George is very practical. He said, okay, where do we go from here? What's the next step? What do we do? So George is always about solution. So I think in his own way, tried to be a little disconnected also as possible.
You think he was scared?
Absolutely, he was scared. There's no question about it. We cried together. We cried quite a few nights. We cried very badly together. And it was, I think for us, it was a way to also say that, you know what? It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to even go into the place of why me, but shake it off quickly. Because why not you? What makes you different? What makes you exceptional? The same way you can win the lottery is the same way anything can happen. So it's never what happens to you, it's how you get out of it, how you push out of it, what you do with it after you've pushed out of it. That's what's it.
Okay, so let me try to understand this. You get this diagnosis, and it seemed like the only thing that you could think about is death. Is that why you were scared?
Of course, because death is the end of it all.
But why is that? You know, we hear that people have survived 14, 20, 30, 50 years. You know, people have lived with it. Why is that the only place where your mind goes to?
Sadly, it's human nature. When you hear cancer, you also know, all of us, whether we like it or not, know people who have died of it. So I had, at that point, the only person I knew who had died of it was my aunt. Actually, no, I'm wrong. It was my aunt and my uncle. My uncle died of throat cancer. It ended in his lungs. My aunt died of ovarian cancer, and it spread into her stomach. So I knew two people very close to me who had died of cancer. So for me, the survival rate was not realistic to the other people that heard survived, because the immediate circle of who has survived around me is what my reality is. So what is your reality? Your reality is the closest thing, people around you who have survived or not survived. So that was my reality. But then I also knew that I needed to make some decisions. So through the research of what I have done with learning about what the disease is, what type of cancer, you know, that I was going to come across 3 or 4 different doctors in the journey of it, because the breast surgeon, the plastic surgeon, my regular surgeon, were all going to come together to make this journey possible. And then my oncologist topping it off to go through the chemo aspect of it. I knew I was going to run into all these doctors. Now, who were the best doctors? Then I hit my knees and asked God to point me to the right direction. Bring everybody in my life who would be significant enough to help me through this journey. And I made some promises, and I told God I wasn't going anywhere. It shook my belief system. I remember a friend giving me a movie called Facing the Giants. It's a story of a coach coaching a baseball team, a football team, and the football team is doing very poor. And he gets on his knees and prays and asks God to help him. And he leaves, after he's done with the prayer, he goes on the field and he tells the kids, 2 of them, to come. He wants to do something called the death crawl. And the kids were done practicing, they were tired. And the kids were complaining. They were like, Coach, we're tired, we're finished with practice. What are you talking about? And he says, no, do this for me, I beg you. Just give me all you got. Give me all you got. Give me all you got, was what I kept hearing God say to me. Give me all you got. You can do this. Give me all you got. You can do it. This coach says it so many times that it irritates you. The kid puts another kid on his back and he blindfolds the kid. And he's in his ear, give me all you got. You can do this. Give me all you got. You can do this. And he's in his ear, and this kid is going. He's going. He says, give me all you got. By the time he finished with this kid, he took the blindfold off, and the kid was at the end of the zone. He had done 100 yards. This kid thought he could only do nothing. And he had done the whole field. From that day on, the team never lost a game, because they gave it all they got. So that story impacted me a lot. And I kept hearing, every time I would feel down, I would hear, give me all you got. You can do this, give me all you got.
That's great. Okay, so I want you to tell us about how it affected your marital life. I know that most of the time when we talk about breast cancer, we're only talking about women. But of course, if we know the role that women play in our homes, the role that women play in the society. So I know that you going through that most likely affected your family unit.
Yes.
How did that affect, say, you and your husband George and your kids?
Well, I'll start with my kids. My middle child was the most affected. Henry was the most emotional child. And he's the one who would check on me 3 times a day, even when I wasn't sick. He's the one who remembers to reach out all the time. So he took it very hard, to the extent he went from subjects he was getting strong B's and A's in to F's.
Wow.
And the teachers realizing what a dump this had been on him. But I realized that with the children, I needed to reassure them that I was going to be okay. So no matter what I was going through, I would wake up, put on my lipstick, look great, make breakfast, send them off to school, then I'll go and crawl in bed and fall apart. So I refused to let them see all through my treatment and all through my journey how really bad it was, because they were young. 8 years ago, my youngest is 17, he was 9. So at 9, if you think your mother is going to die, and the notion is she's going to slowly die, God forbid, that's scary for a 9-year-old or anybody else. With George, I think George is a research man. He would research everything. I never saw him once research breast cancer.
You think he did it outside of work of the house?
I don't know. We actually have never talked about that. But I never saw him read up on the way George would read up on going to buy a freaking computer or going to buy a music system. He would do every research. He didn't, because I think it was a denial process as well. He didn't want to believe that this was happening to his wife, his beautiful wife. This could not happen. So, the medication you're given through chemo, all of that forces your body through menopause, and it's an extreme end of menopause. There'll be days when I would wake up in the middle of the night and it's like I had literally peed on myself.
No.
My whole bed, I sweated it out. And I have to wake him up so I can change the sheets so that I can go ahead and take a shower and get back in the bed. Now, all of that is not always attractive because he's thinking I'm still sick. So yes, it impacted us in so many different ways, but it impacted us where, in hindsight, it brought us closer together even more. It solidified our marriage and our relationship even more, because it made us realize that if we can go through this, we can go through anything. So him now slowly believing, 3 years after, he broke down.
Wow.
Horribly, and admitted that he still thinks I'm sick because I was taking heavy medications after my chemo. For 5 years, I was taking tamoxifen that was pushing my body through menopause. I was going through a lot of hormonal changes. I gained a lot of weight from it, added to what I was already, because I was not a skinny person to begin with, and then I added more weight to it through the process. So all of it was difficult. And when any human being don't find you attractive, it's going to affect different areas of your marriage. So it did.
And personally, did it affect your self-esteem? Did you feel less of a woman? I mean, you're saying if...
It's interesting you hear
I told you I was going to ask all the questions.
This dude is good. When I was about 12 years old, my father bought 3 mirrors in my house. There was one behind the dining table, there was one on the landing, and there was one on the, I think in my bedroom. And I remember asking him, what's all the mirrors for? He says to me, look in the mirror, you're the most beautiful woman in the world.
Wow.
Don't let anybody tell you different. No matter what I went through, my self-esteem never shook.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's
Because
interesting.
Daddy said so.
Okay, so You talked about faith, you talked about relationship, you talked about your weight. Those are all points that I had that I was going to ask you, but I think you touched on all of them. Now I want you to take us through your process. You know, what did you have to do to be healthy again? Did you lose a breast? You know, what happened? That's what I want you to take us through, that journey that you went through to once again feel like the woman that you were before.
Great. I think what's beautiful is that you never feel the woman that you were before.
Wow.
I can promise you're going to feel better than you were before. Because what you're going to build is on the inside, not on the outside. And that's what makes a difference. Because before you were about the woman on the outside. And now you're going to be the woman of the inside. So my scars for me, yes, I took off my breast. I took off my left breast. And they did a lift on my right. So I'm scarred on both sides. What those scars remind me is that I'm here. Every time I feel them, I smile because I'm here. Because without the scars, what are the odds I may not be here? So I'm thankful for those scars. Initially, it took me about 3 years to look at myself in the mirror completely. To really look at myself. I would literally go by quickly. But it took me 3 years to actually look at myself and really look at the woman I had become with all the scars. And I think that was an opening time for me as well. Embracing time for me to embrace the fact that beauty is skin deep and your heart is truly what matters. How we are with each other, what we do with each other is what matters. The research I have done brought me to the best of breast surgeon, brought me to the best of hospital, brought me to the best of, I got wheeled into surgery on my birthday, and I picked that day on purpose because I felt God had given me life for a very significant reason, and I would want to celebrate it and thank Him on that same day with my surgery. So I knew He would look out for me that day. So I got wheeled in on my 40th birthday. I got wheeled in, and when I came out, I didn't know what to expect. It felt very interesting to not have breasts. But it was again, I think when you have the attitude and the personality that you want to live, you do whatever it takes to live. If the doctor says cut off one leg and I'm going to make you live for a long time, I hope majority of us will do that. So this was mine. Take off your breast. I make jokes then. I'm like, yeah, doc, am I going to get new ones and young ones? And, they laughed about it just before I went into surgery, just before they put on the mask to get me to go to sleep. I said, I've never done any big surgery before. I was telling the nurses, I said, I'm not going down this quick, man. Y'all better bring a couple of those things. And we made a joke and made light, and then we said a prayer before they put it on me. So it was great. I started with a great energy of people and great people around me, and everything worked out. What they did was right when they put in, right when the breast is taken out, some lymph nodes were taken out as well to be tested. And those lymph nodes I had to be tested. All of that came back negative. Luckily, my cancer was small enough because it had been detected early. What was tough with the type of cancer it was that it was very aggressive. So my breast surgeon advised that instead of I do a lumpectomy, which the initial doctor wanted to do, I should do a mastectomy. That way, my chances of it coming back would be less than higher. So that's what we did. We did a full mastectomy on the left side. They begin reconstruction right away. Luckily, to be in America, to have been diagnosed in America, reconstruction was done right away. There is something they put called a stretcher inside your skin to begin to stretch your skin. So they did that. They put drains on me. I came home, and the journey started. The healing process started, and reconstruction went on about for 6 months. Through reconstruction, you go back. The stretcher is then injected a little bit at a time. Every week you go back.
So stretcher is stretching your skin?
Stretch your skin because they've removed everything. So the stretcher goes in. As you're healing, the stretcher is also stretching you. So then when it matches the other side, then now they're able to take the stretcher out and put the implant in. and then
Okay.
go in, and they take, including your nipple, everything is removed. They go in and create a tattoo of you. And then they pinch the skin and they stitch it. And all of this took about 6 to 8 months to do so.
I'm going to ask you a very personal question. Do you have sensation in the breast?
No, zero.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Zero sensation. So in a way, I'm grateful I have one. I tell my husband, no, honey, not the left, the right. Come on, bring it in.
All right, I see they made some adjustment on the camera. Okay, this is not supposed to be funny, but I'm glad we're laughing about this.
Yes, yes.
And I'm glad you touched on that reconstructive surgery because I was hoping not to pull it out of you. I still want to kind of stay on that a little bit, on the reconstruction. So I guess to me it makes sense now because I know we hear about implants, but also, and no offense, we see men who are getting boob job, right? And I'm thinking, how do they go from a flat chest to a full breast? So that stretching, the stretching thing makes sense. So say, I know that cost a lot of money, right? I'm sure it did. And you had already said that you were a successful businesswoman, so I'm sure you could afford it. Or not to get into the cost and all of that, but
Insurance.
yeah,
My husband
insurance covers
works-
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it is breast cancer related, insurance covered it. Unfortunately though, insurance covers it with their own surgeons. And the only only plastic surgeon that took my insurance was one doctor. And he did a horrible job.
So the reconstruction was done horribly. When you say horrible, what do you mean by that?
Horrible as in, I looked uneven, it didn't look like breast. It just was a horrible job. And I think that I was so happy to be alive, it didn't matter. But as time went on and as I got more comfortable in my own skin, every time I'd look at myself in the mirror, I didn't like it. So 7 years later, I went back and had it reconstructed again to make it look as even as possible. And now I feel good.
Good.
I feel good.
Wonderful. I
Let
think
me
that.
touch on that. Let me go on it a little bit. You know, sadly enough, our women in most parts of Africa cannot afford this process, or there isn't even enough doctors to do the reconstructive part. Luckily, we have, you know, prosthetic breast that we can offer, we can buy and make us look even and feel as even as possible. So don't be swayed by the fact that you are not able to get a full reconstructive surgery because you are in some part of the world that will not allow you, or feel you're less of a woman because you don't have that. You know, I make jokes that yes, I have 1 nipple and 3 kids, but I have a huge booty that works very well. So there are ways around you being intimate with your significant other that does not require you to have those things. And when people love you, when you're truly loved by somebody, it really is not about the physical aspect. I hope not. I think that we love a little more deeper than that. So I just want to share that there's so much on the market now that we can Google and find prosthetically. There are women in America who choose not to go through reconstructive surgery. I know I've met women myself who are totally flat-chested, will go to the beach in a bikini and walk across the beach like nothing. And I admire them for it. I just didn't feel that same way about not having them. So I think it's okay. Remember, you are alive, and that beats everything, really.
Okay. Good. So there's one thing that I didn't talk about, or I didn't ask you yet, and it kind of ties into all of this, and that's friends. I know that outside of family, friends, friendship, you know, friends are our support, our rock. During your time or the journey, 1, did you feel the need to share with your friends? 2, did you share it? And were you selective on who you shared that information with and why?
Beautiful. Great question, great question, great question. Remember, I am a hairstylist. I'm surrounded by women. The minute I got back from my MRI, everybody was asking me, Jules, how did your MRI go? So the results haven't come in yet, let's give it a few days. All the women, right from the beginning, my entire salon, everybody I knew what I was going through. I chose to share it because I'm surrounded by women. I wanted to know the same way we share recipes, the same way we share great restaurants, the same way we share. I wanted the core women around me who had, and through me speaking, I realized so many women have been through it and were success stories. So that in itself empowered me to keep moving. I remember clients bringing me soup. I remember my friends coming to give me a bath. I remember one of my clients literally coming to visit and making sure that she would give me reflexology on my feet through every chemo treatment. And in sharing my story, I have opened a door to now women. Just as I pulled up today to do this interview, a client called me in the car.
I heard you.
And for a good 10 minutes, I was having a conversation with this client about encouraging her how to hang in there, the importance of hanging in there. It is so important for us to share our stories, my women. You're not alone. You're not touched by the devil. This is not because you did anything wrong. It's a horrible disease. Let's be each other's support. Let's stop the gossip and be there for our sisters, be there for our friends, be there for our women. We need that. We really do.
Wow. Okay, so I'm looking at time and it seems like we have 10 minutes. I can't even believe it.
That's how quick it goes.
And I haven't even asked all the questions that I have here. Trying to squeeze things out of her. So thank you. I think the journey, taking us through your journey. I know that just the little that I've been involved with Pink for Africa, which we're going to talk about next. I've had inboxes. And when I say inboxes, there are a lot of, I know from what I've seen and what I've heard that there are a lot of women out there who either have been diagnosed or are going through treatment and they don't have the support system or they don't feel like opening up to society.
Right.
And you did mention about that witchcraft or what have you done wrong. I remember a lady one time telling me that when she was diagnosed and she shared with her friends, they were like, you know what, you deserve it because of your character. So I know that in our society there's that belief.
Yes.
And I think that also affects a lot of women when it comes to their decision as
Why
to
they should not
share it or not to share it. But with this 10 minutes that we have, I wanted you to tell us about Pink for Africa. Why Pink for Africa? How you landed there as a survivor? What took you through? I mean, why did you decide you were going to start an organization on breast cancer, especially in Africa?
Well, I'm born and raised African. I'm born and raised Ghanaian. And it's a country I've loved very, very much. I was being interviewed when I launched my handbag line, and the gentleman had asked me if I didn't live in America, will I be alive today? First, he asked me if I didn't live in America, will I be married today? If I didn't live in America, will I have a business that I have today? And all those questions were easy. Yes, 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 yes. Me, I love money. My father used to make me count money when I was a kid. So if money doesn't go through my hands, I'm sick. So when it got to, if you didn't live in America, will you be alive today? I couldn't answer that. And that bothered me. So I started to do research on, what are the statistics in Ghana? Not even statistics alone, but what exactly is breast cancer and its effects in Ghana? What's going on? And the more I read and the more I started talking about it and hearing my friends and other acquaintances come up and say stuff, already I started counseling people without realizing I was. Because the minute I opened my mouth right here, it became easy for people to then approach me, So it really dawned on me that there's a reason I'm alive. And just last week, a pastor prayed for me and said, I have 9 lives. I didn't get that, but he said I have 9 lives and that God used the doctors to heal me. And it was Him who healed me. I believe that totally. Yes, it was Him who healed me. But what is amazing is that the need in Africa, across Africa, I cannot stress the importance of self-examination, because majority of us women in Africa, when we detect a lump, there's no pain. So we think it's nothing. It could be a lymph node. My own mother, I call her my mother, yes, she's my stepmother, but I call her my mother because she was in every respect my mother. Majid's mother, Auntie Paulina, died because she found her lump too late. And 3 years in remission, the cancer came back and killed her, because whatever they removed, obviously they weren't able to remove everything. She had a mastectomy, she had a double mastectomy, but still they weren't able to remove everything. So when we catch it early, it is so important. Pink for Africa's goal is to truly impact as much education as possible, 1. 2, find a way to have a support system for the women who are going through the disease. Once you come out, we will find and pair you up with a survivor who you can talk to, who can help walk you through. We're creating a database of survivors in Ghana who are really willing and honestly open heart to help. We're growing, so we need help. We're also financially helping women. This year alone, we were able to really touch 27 women. 3 of them have died since then, but we ease those 3 women's pain. We help with their chemo and radiation. Cancer is not a cheap disease. It is very expensive. And so we need everybody to understand, Pink for Africa's mission is to make sure that education is number 1, that we teach everybody how to self-examine. 1 week after your period, you self-examine. Your 4 fingers, I'm going to show you right now, your 4 fingers have a memory. If you do this 1 week after your period, if you don't get your period, pick any week in the month and do it. It could be the first week or the last week. But your 4 fingers have a memory. Lay in your bed, your clothes, your shirt off, with 1 hand, put it behind your head, take your fingers and push deep into the breast cage. And go deep into the breast cage. Go in a circular move. Come all the way into your armpit. Come up here. Push in there. It's not painful at all. Go in, go in, go in. When you're done, squeeze the nipple. Make sure there's nothing coming out of it. When you're done, stand up and look in the mirror. Stand in the mirror, see a reflection of yourself. If one breast is always slightly bigger than the other, but if it's significantly bigger than the other, you need to pay attention. If there's discoloration on your breast, look around, pick it up. If they're big kahunas, it's okay. Pick them up and look, make sure that there's no discoloration. If you are able to do this, your fingers will memorize your breast tissue. And when you go in, it will feel if there is anything there. When you feel a lump, it does not mean you have breast cancer. Please do not panic. You need to go to the doctor, let the doctor check it. Tests need to be done, and the doctors will conclude at that point if you have breast cancer or not. Men can do the same self-examination as well. This is not just for women. 1 in every 1,000 men get breast cancer. 1 in every 8 women get breast cancer. So the men are not totally out of the loop as well. So it's important. I just found out that some superstar got breast cancer a few years ago. He's a guy and had to do a full mastectomy on 1 side of the breast. It is very important for you to understand that self-examination in our community in Africa is key. Unfortunately or fortunately, when you're diagnosed at a very early stage in Ghana, they remove the entire breast. They believe it's better to do so because when the women leave, they don't come back. So if the cancer returns and they don't come back, it will kill them. So they remove the breast, giving you a lower chance of the cancer coming back. What I need to plead on this platform today, 1 is with the pastors who are out there. We love your prayers. We appreciate the fact that you are a holy man and you want to pray for us. But remember, God also creates the doctor. And we need both the doctor and you, the pastor, to make it work. Please stop telling women to come to church and not go to the doctors. We need our women to live. Please. The next thing I want to plead is with doctors. When you go to do surgery on our women, one of the things I hear is our women are afraid of surgery because we butcher them badly and the infections kill them. So please, this is your wife on the table. This is your mother on the table. This is your sister on the table. Please have mercy on them. If you see the incisions done in the US and the incisions done in Ghana, it's two different things. The incisions in the US are very simply done, very neatly done. In Ghana is a whole different story. So please, 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 I'm pleading with the doctors, look at us and try your best to give us, when you go in for surgery, please be mindful and be thoughtful that we need to heal and the scars stay with us forever. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so I think on radio we're probably about to end this session, but I want us to continue because I'm not sure if there are people
Still
on Facebook that want to ask some questions.
I'm gonna upload a very good copy right.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to upload a very good copy from the radio so that people can listen in later. But I also want to make sure that people are, of course, in fact, having the opportunity to ask questions. I know I'm a little distracted here because we're
logistics.
Yeah,
Logistics.
timing is tight, and I want to make sure we continue. So just give me a moment. Am I on there now?
Yes.
I'm on here. So no more of that, right?
I'm gonna end that.
Okay, perfect. So I guess you can go on radio. I think DJ for show is next, right?
Yes.
All right. So if everyone watching, hold on, let me see. I think I can see it here.
We're ending this one, so you can.
Okay.
So they're probably gonna jump on this. We'll take a few
Minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what
Hang in
I
there,
mean?
guys.
So do I have to go off and on again?
No. It's saying live here, so I'm just going out of it. We're live on the same account, so that's good. Yeah, so they're coming back on. Oh, yeah.
How many people were on? Oh, we have comments here.
Yes.
The sound was choppy.
The sound was choppy.
the
They
sound
can,
was-
people can still hear you.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. People are joining us.
So-
Hello, everyone.
So what you need to put out is that we have you come around. So you can see this copy very clean. I'm uploading it right away.
Perfect.
So they can enjoy that.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
So you can just go on with what
All right.
you wanted to.
So I just need this to. All right. I see everyone is on now. Okay. Akosia says she's on. Nana, thanks for joining. I know, Safa, we're not done yet. If you're watching this now, please share it. We're done with the radio live, and now we're back on Facebook. We're going to stay on here for a little while because I'm sure there's some questions out there that needs to be answered. We did get your feedback on the sound, but trust me, he's going to upload it from the radio feed and it's going to be back on. Kenny, say hi to Jules. All right, so if you all have any questions, you can, I guess, ask the questions. Juliet is here. We haven't stopped talking about Pink for Africa itself. So
Yes.
Jules, I'm gonna be the one behind the camera for now, so I can ask you some questions.
Okay.
Oh, okay, you're gonna help us with that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna come back and take a seat.
You want to join in?
I'm not dressed.
Anyway, this Juliet, I don't know if you have one of these.
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is a gift for you from Ghana. Of course, you know what this is.
Awesome.
Kente, and it says survivor because not only are you a survivor, but you're a trooper, you're a conqueror. And you know, what you do every day touches a lot of lives out there. That's why I'm sitting here today. Because to tell you a little bit about how I met Juliet, it was through her cousin Nellie. She hosted a wonderful baby shower at her house, and when I met her, I just felt, you know, her energy, how her spirit, you know, such a good person to invite everybody into her home. She had been in the salon for I think about 10 hours and still came home, made sure that the shower went very well. And then through that, that's when we started talking about Pink for Africa. So I'm only sitting here as a volunteer, you know, there's no ties I'm just here to help, and that's why I'm always pushing you all on Facebook to join, because that's how I joined. I know and not everyone has the time or the energy to do what I or Ajua. Ajua is behind the scenes, Ajua Mograbi, when it comes to the Rock Your Pink campaign. The reason why we do the campaign is because everything that she talked about today, helping out in Ghana, has to do with money. She does push in a lot of her own money. I know that for a fact. But she can't do it all. We as, Black people, we as Africans, we as Ghanaians need to back her so that she can do the job that she's doing. And that's the only way this organization can grow. A lot of people say, how come only Ghana? But the point is, we haven't even touched anything in Ghana. So how do we grow to Nigeria? How do we grow to Togo? How do we go into the diaspora? How do we go into the Caribbean? How do we go to other places, even here in the US? I'm sorry?
We have a question, so.
Oh, there's a question. Okay, wonderful. Let's go. Can we see it here? What's the question, if you can read it for us?
Jules, question for you. I know you talked earlier about survival rate of breast cancer in Ghana. Tell us a little bit about accessibility to mammograms in Ghana.
There is definitely a lot of different clinics that do mammography. As to how accurate it is, I don't know, but I know that the bigger hospitals is better to deal with, because I know they are more up to date and will give you much more clarification than the smaller clinics. So I will, go to Kolebu, I'll go to the Swedish Medical Center, I'll go to Leicester Hospital, I'll go to Ridge Hospital. So right there is 4 huge hospitals that you can go to, that you can get some great information on your mammography and all of that. Again, the smaller clinics, I don't know, I really cannot say. But the bigger ones, I know for a fact. Pink for Africa works very closely with the oncology department in Kolebu.
Yeah,
And if anybody needs help, hit me my inbox. I'll give you a nurse's name to go see. That will really help cut through a lot of red tape
So
for you.
the interview is still on, so you can just set up when you're ready.
Any other questions?
Just a lot of support.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you,
Wonderful.
thank you. Remember, your support counts the most when you go to www.pinkforafrica.org and donate. Because through your donations, we'll be able to share and show you truly where your money is going. Those donations are why the 27 women we were able to help this year. Our goal is to kick it up and help even more women than we did last year, and be able to take one patient from beginning to end and finish them and rejoice with them as they finish that journey, having survived breast cancer. So your donations are everything. We do this in October and push in October, but we plead with all of you, visit www.pinkforafrica.org and know that your money will go to the right source, not only because I am a survivor, but also because I would never put my integrity on the line in any way or form. So if you truly have faith and respect for what we do as Pink for Africa, I think that, know that your money is in good hands.
Okay. Any other questions? I think I'm on now, so I can see what's on there.
Okay, great.
Okay, somebody said we support.
I want to also add to this. In order for Pink for Africa to do what it does, my immediate right-hand person is from Jamaica. Now, she's never been to Ghana.
And she's sitting right here across.
She's only heard my story and the energy that I have brought to her and the passion that I have in wanting this to work. And she's been totally dedicated. Michelle Lowe is one of the people who is my VP. Hopefully this coming October, next October, we will be able to go to Ghana with her and show her exactly what her work is doing, what her push is doing to meet some of these women that she has personally touched in tirelessly, endlessly working for Pink for Africa. Nana Sarpong and Ajwa Mograbi are another 2 people who are part of the fundraising team that help us really generate as much money as possible. Stephanie O'Connor is one of our event planners who also pours into us. the whole Pink for Africa team. Without all of them, we would not be able to do this. So a huge thank you. It's my face, but believe me, I ride on a lot of people's back to be able to make it possible. If you are interested in being a part of Pink for Africa, please reach out to us. Michelle Lowe is on Facebook. I am on Facebook. Reach out to us and please come forward so that we can include you and make you part of this team and grow together.
Okay, we have a question.
Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene. Eugene says, since we can't rely on the medical system in Ghana, what's the purpose of this campaign besides awareness?
The purpose of this campaign, besides awareness, is that there are so many. To say that you cannot rely on the Ghanaian medical system is not fair, because there are women who have survived. The oldest one I met was an 85-year-old woman in Kumasi who had one breast taken off, and when she was 39, and she lived to be 85 and more. So Mampokwa is a great example of this. And so to say that the Ghanaian system, we are not the best, we're not on American standards, but our doctors are trying. Every doctor wants to prove that he has patients who have survived. So I think that our core goal is to help people. Here, we're here to really support women who cannot afford. So yes, I'll give you an example. One of the women we're helping is called Ifwa. Ifwa is 24 years old. She's a hairstylist. Where in the world in Ghana can a hairstylist afford, for example, her chemo alone is $7,500. Where can she find that money to be able to even have a chance to live? So yes, there is survival rate. It may not be big, but it's there. If we continue to support organizations like mine, who truly do a good job and go out there, do your research before you donate. Find out what these organizations do. Reach out to the people personally who head these organizations. Have a conversation with them. So study them before you donate if you don't feel comfortable. And learn about who they are and really see that your money is going to do the right thing. If not, you can personally go to Kolebu yourself, see the need and feed the need. You don't have to go through any organization. You can do it yourself. So I'm urging all of you, it doesn't have to be Pink for Africa. It can be you yourself. Again, it can start with a bowl of soup you make for a sick person going through cancer, your neighbor. It can be any gesture of kindness. That is what we are doing. We're just doing kindness on a much bigger level and a more publicized version. That's all.
Okay, there's another question. How do you deal with potential fears of the cancer coming back? We are human, and I'm sure there are days you may have those fears. How do you handle those situations?
Kosia, this is a wonderful question. Wonderful question. You don't. Every time I go for a mammogram or an ultrasound, my heart is pounding, literally beating out of my chest. And that's the reality of it. I look at my kids before I leave, and I tell them that I'm going for my test. I'll be back. Pray for me. Keep me in your prayers. That's it. You never know. You never know. Just like you don't know if when you wake up today, you're going to get hit by a car. Just like you don't know if you wake up today, you're going to be, anything could happen. So no, there is no way of knowing. There's no way of preventing. All I can tell you is eat right, exercise, take better care of yourself, and enjoy life. Enjoy the people in your life. Appreciate moments you share with people, because tomorrow is not guaranteed to even the person who doesn't have cancer. Pretty much
That's
it.
good. Wonderful. Any other questions? Oh, you said you were going to talk about
Eugene,
prosthetic.
thank you so much for supporting the initiatives. I really appreciate it. I need you to understand that your support means everything to us. Thank you.
Prosthetic bras in Ghana.
Yes.
You wanted to talk a little bit about
Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm so glad you brought it up. I love you. So, this year's October campaign, what we are raising, a good portion of that money is going to go towards prosthetics. When we donated to the 27 women in Kolebu earlier this year, I went back in August to visit to check on the women. And when I met with them, all of them came back to me and said, Pink for Africa for we need prosthetics. So I realized that the need, when they showed me what they were wearing, literally they're taking cotton and doing a ball and putting it in their chest, or they're cutting a foam and putting it in their chest. It broke my heart to see that. So our focus will be when I go back in March, where I'm going to do a big event with Kolebu again, we will have the prosthetics ready to give to these women and give to any other women who needs it. So if you know anybody who has had a mastectomy and could use prosthetics, please let them reach out to us. We will compile a list of all the women who need it and their telephone numbers. When we are about to go, we will take them and we will give them and bless them with it.
Okay, there's more questions. I think some of them you probably would have to be a doctor, but I'm sure you can answer them. And thank you, Ellen. Ellen says it sounds better, and then also Kathy says better view. Again, we'll repost the one that we recorded. I'm sure it'll be much better than now. But Akusia said diet. Sorry, I'm asking too many questions.
No, Akusia, I love your questions.
Are you on a special diet?
I eat well. In the last few months, I've removed, immediately after chemo, I became a vegan to clean my body out. So I was a vegan for about 9 months. It was a very difficult journey for me because I had to take a lot of vitamins. It cost me quite a bit of money too. So I couldn't stay on it, I couldn't sustain it. So I decided to pull back off being a vegan after I cleansed my body out completely. Right now, yes, I'm very conscious of what I eat. I try to eat less sugar. I try to eat more greens. I do my best to exercise, which is one of the most difficult things for me to do. But I do. And basically, I've cut out red meat. I don't eat any red meat. I don't eat chicken. I'm focusing on eating meat, fish, and eating more vegetables and being a healthier me. That's pretty much it. Remember, if you are premenopausal, which means that if you haven't started going through your menopause yet, it's very important for you to remove certain foods out of your diet. One of them is soy. Any food that has high estrogen, Google it. Foods with high estrogen, sweet potatoes, soy,
You love sweet potatoes?
Yeah,
I was eating tonight.
all those foods are great for you if you've never had cancer in your body. But if you've had cancer before, you want to be careful because estrogen feeds into the cancer cells and makes them grow rapidly. So if it should come back and you don't know it's back, the foods you're eating could feed into those cells and make them grow quickly. So you want to be sure that if you're premenopausal like I am and I was, you eliminate those foods out of your diet. So you can have your Chinese food without soy sauce.
Wow. What if they put in the soy sauce in there? I guess you have to tell them.
And at our last tea party, there was a nutritionist that...
Yes. At our last tea party, there was a nutritionist who gave some great insight. I've been posting his videos. I'll post it again. But he's somebody you can reach out to. And he's very open to work closely with any of Pink for Africa's women who want to ask questions on nutrition. He'll be more than happy to answer them.
Wonderful. Any more questions? I guess Akosia was like, or are there certain types of goods you would recommend we avoid? You talked about that.
Yes.
I've heard people saying they avoid non-organic foods, but you and I, not everybody can afford the fully organic. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm going to focus a little bit, Akosia, I'm going to focus a little bit on Ghana. What I tell the women every time is eat from the earth. You know, Ghanaians, we've been caught up with obroni ediane, like the white man's food. We're doing
French
canned
fries.
food. Yes, we're eating the fried rice, the Chinese people, the Chinese fried rice. We're eating all kinds of stuff. Eat from the earth. Know your local farmers. These village farmers grow from the earth. Most of them do not even grow with fertilizers. So eat from the earth. Everything from the earth is what our mothers and our grandmothers and our grandparents have lived on and lived a long time. So eat from the earth. When you eat from the earth back home, it's less expensive. And believe me, you'll be a healthier person. So less canned foods. Let's be careful. I personally am deathly afraid of the deodorant in Ghana. That I don't recognize. You know, Chinese people are copying the goods coming from Asia is being copied so badly that deodorants, your toothpaste, all of those things are not the best. If you want to stay truly
Says
organic.
interrupted?
Trying to reconnect.
Okay, it's trying to reconnect. Let's
Just say
hold
it's trying to reconnect.
I think when you move closer to here, for some reason the connection is bad, but when you go back, it's much better.
And
So-
the internet here is where
Mine-
It's not good, huh?
No, but mine is not. Mine is on my
yours should be on
network.
data. So
Yeah. All right. I think we're back on now.
So eating from the earth is key. Please, you know, meet your local farmers when they get off that farm with
It's
the good
still
food.
interrupted.
Enjoy them.
When she was, do you mind sitting down? When she was
So,
sitting down,
but
it was
so-
much better.
How can we
It's-
encourage people in the
Okay, so let me get this question. It's still saying interrupted.
Yeah, I can click finish and then start it again.
Mm-mm.
Because
We'll
it will
lose
end, that
people.
will end,
Wait, it's
yes.
showing the ceiling.
We'll lose people.
It can't be showing the ceiling,
No,
it's right here.
because this is the, unless.
It's still saying interrupted. What's saying on my phone? Oh, don't finish.
Exactly, because once I press finish, it's
Be
gonna.
careful with it.
Okay, it's back on.
It's showing the ceiling.
No, it's so, because the video has ended, it's gone to the beginning where, we have the camera, at the start, we have the camera there. So that means it's ended. So let me redo it. Let
It's
me just
ended?
go back.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me put a comment.
Okay.
Oh, it seemed like we will be.
Yeah, it's back,
It's back? Okay, let's go. All right, Jules, let's get this question. How can we encourage people in Ghanaian communities to support such campaigns instead of the usual ostentatious funerals and parties?
Eugene, you're awesome, man. You're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome. I personally, my belief is never in funerals. I'm not a funeral person. I think we should celebrate people when they're alive and do more for each other when we're alive than waiting to die and throwing this ridiculous funerals that we do. But so many people will tell you that it's all cultural based. Cultural is killing us and we're letting it kill us. So yes, if people like you and your network continue to share, that is how we're gonna grow. For people to see us, we need everybody to continue to share in the same belief that Pink for Africa has. It is why Nana Sarpong is on board. It is why he shares on his Facebook. It's why he shares with his friends and his contacts. Same thing. So encourage each other to really share and talk about it and let people know what Pink for Africa is about and what we do so that we can grow. Because growth, there's numbers in growth. If growth will bring, let me tell you, if 1 million people give one city, we have 1 million cities. That 1 million cities can move mountains. So that's how it works. Let's share it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that because I know that personally when I first wanted to join the campaign, I was thinking, you know what? If I can get 100 of my friends to donate $20, that would be so easy. But it's only easy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Once you start asking people, it's either because people have other commitments, it's either because people don't care for the cause, it's so many reasons, and it sounds so easy to say, let's do this. And it takes a lot, even with this campaign on Facebook, you have to continue to ask people because again, it's a free will.
Yes.
So you can beg, you can pinch, you can harass. At the end of the day, not everybody is going to heed to your call.
Yes.
But the more people we have,
the better it is.
the better it is. Because if I can get 10 people and 10 of my 10 people can get additional 10 people, that's how we can grow.
Yes.
So it's all about
in
the numbers. It's all about the numbers. Yep.
And it's in the numbers because you truly want to see that, no matter what we do, I have 3,000 people following me. Again, if everybody gave $1, that's $3,000. That's how I look at it as well. So it's so important. When I share, we share because we are hoping that you get it and you see it and you can feel it and you understand what we're doing. In the last 5 years, I've personally given up my business for a whole month of October to go to Ghana. All of those 5 years I've gone, when I've come back, my business is set back at least 2 months. I have to come and quickly work to generate funds to pay the rent, to do everything. My husband once asked me, why don't you slow down with Pink for Africa and let's focus on the business, and when we gather up some more money, we can do that. And I said, well, how do I do that? I can't, because sacrifices have to be made. 2 of my children are born in October. For the last 5 years, I've never been here to celebrate their birthdays. And what do I tell them? Sacrifices have to be made. What is your sacrifice? Your sacrifice is you're giving up your birthday. When I come back, we'll celebrate your birthday. So we all make different sacrifices. What we do here is Pink for Africa needs you. Because again, Nana and I cannot do it alone. Michelle and I cannot do it alone. We need all of you to see the need and to be part of what we're doing, so that you can also feel some level of pride that we are also doing for ourselves. We always look to the outside world to come and help. If a white woman came and brought Pink for Africa, we would jump on her and be happy for her. Yet when it's our own giving back, we criticize and we pull so hard. I'm pleading with all of you, believe me. Pink for Africa will never make me rich, because my goal is to help as many women as possible. I'm one of the hardest working chicks you'll ever meet. Okay? I wear what I have my stuff because I work hard for it. But what Pink for Africa is doing is because Pink for Africa needs somebody like me to be in it, to push it as hard as we can. So understand, we got you. We will never disrespect any donations you bring.
Wonderful. We have a question about prostate cancer, but I don't
Yes.
have. Can you
It's
talk
okay.
about that?
I'll touch on it.
Good for you.
Let's do it.
Okay, what about prostate cancer? It said, can you guys brief the men on prostate cancer? I don't know anything about prostate cancer, so
I'm so glad, man. I want to respond only because I think it's respectful to respond to people's questions. I think that the same energy I bring to breast cancer, who asked that question? Kenny, I love you. I need you to start an organization for prostate cancer. I challenge you, and I'll back you. I'll even be on your board. Start one and let's push it, because if all of us are able to pick one thing and we're able to push in the manner that we need to, believe me, we'll create a better Ghana and a better Africa for all of us. It's about time we take responsibility for some of the things that we have, the issues we have in Ghana, so that we can also be proud and do it. So listen, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean.
Of
Kenny,
course.
go on, boy. Let's do this.
All right. Nana Akosa, was your friend. Jules, please, can you also let people know that creating awareness is throughout the year? Thank you. Okay. People are diagnosed every day and not just in October.
Now, Nana is one special woman. She's not only a breast cancer survivor, mother of 3 boys as well. She's a fighter in ways, man. She makes me so proud. She did so much for Africa, Pink for Africa this year. She sold so many t-shirts. I can't even tell you. Thank you. Now, yes, awareness is all year. Every time I'm in Ghana, even if it's on a personal trip, I go to Kolibo and I visit my women. I don't always talk about it, but it is so important. Tease the Johnson. Okay.
We're being distracted here, but that's Michelle.
That's what it is.
But the beautiful thing is that awareness is throughout the year. So self-examination is throughout the year. Please remember that Pink for Africa donation box is also open throughout the year. Anytime you feel like it. I have people who donate $10 a month. And that's all they do, $10 a month.
That's good.
And that's it. They automatically do it. The money goes in, no problem. If you want to be part of that, please join in. Every month, go and give us $10 a month on Pink for Africa. We will appreciate you so much. So, you know.
Okay, some great comments. Jules, how can men get checked out? Do they also schedule?
They can do a self-examination themselves. You know, when men get to a certain age,
Do that, Nana.
when men, I'm gonna do it on him. This will be really great. Why not? Let me feel the brother up. George, this is for breast cancer.
He's fine.
I just want you to know. Anyway, so when men start to get older and they hit also a certain age, their testosterone level, which makes them the masculine and the, you know, all of that starts to drop, and their estrogen levels go up. That's why you see men begin to have breast and even a belly. Well, it becomes the opposite for women. Every maybe 3rd week of the month, my son comes with a tweezer and plucks the hairs that I have here. Body's going through change. Women begin to develop higher testosterone. So yes, a woman over 40, her sexual drive is up peak. Don't mess with her. So it's the same, and that's why men begin to develop possible lumps. So it is important to self-examine. The same way we show the women, give me a card. There's a card on the table, bring it to me. The same way we show the women is the same way for the men.
You said go which way?
Your 4 fingers, you're gonna push in and you're gonna go circular, not so hard, gentle. And you're gonna go, and you're gonna come all in here. So you're gonna come all around, circular mode. And basically, this is what Pink for Africa gives all of the women we educate. And these are the steps. If you need one of these, reach out to us. I'll mail it to you if I have to. And I'll send it to you. Inbox me with your address, I'll send you one. If you're in Ghana, when I come to Ghana in December, I'll leave a whole bunch at my shop. I will post it on Facebook and let you know. I've left a whole bunch at my showroom in East Legon. You can go and pick up one for yourself.
Okay, so we have another question. It says, well, of course, there's some love here. Akosia says, love you, Jules, keep soaring. You bring so much energy to this campaign. God bless you.
Thank you, Akosia. We love you. Right back, baby.
Nana, of course, I guess was answering the question about how do men
they can get mammograms.
Yeah, men can get them. So anyway, I'll ask that question later. I'm trying to find out if you don't have any breasts.
Where do you go to pay money for monthly top?
She wants to talk about money, but let me talk about this
www.pinkforafrica.org and click on donate.
Okay, now that we got the money question out of the way, because this is the month to raise funds, and we know that if we don't get most people this month, that's it. Because at least everywhere you go in October, everybody's talking about breast cancer. So she had to get that in before it was too late.
So let's talk about your
So
problem.
now, if I don't have a breast, right? I don't have.
You have, but you don't have a tissue. The
Okay.
tissue doesn't protrude.
So how do they do a mammogram on the flat? Well,
They can't do a mammogram on a flat chest. They'll probably do an ultrasound.
ultrasound.
So if you feel a lump, that is when you go to do an ultrasound.
Okay.
You don't just go and say you want an ultrasound. No.
Okay.
If you feel a lump, you go to your doctor. Your doctor says, okay, I feel a lump. Let's do an ultrasound.
Okay.
They'll do an
Got it.
ultrasound. Because you need the breast tissue to go in for them to.
It's a horrible thing, Nana.
Let me ask you a question. How about women who have implants?
They do ultrasound. I have both implants. So
Okay.
I have
Okay.
both implants.
Okay.
So in order for my correction to take place, they went ahead and corrected the left breast that was horribly done. And then they also went back into my right breast, and I did this year. They went back in my right breast and went in with implants to even me out. Because initially I was gravity, got this one and then this one was up. So literally like that. But now I'm even. I don't even need a bra. I'm like a 22-year-old right now.
So I guess
There has
there's
to be
nothing
some
wrong with
benefits.
implants, right? I know a lot of people are against implants, but there's also
I
that.
think that is a personal preference.
Yes, okay.
There is a risk factor with everything foreign you put in your body. There's no question about it. Every 5 years, every 10 years, I need to go back, remove it, and replace it.
Wow.
So there is a risk factor, and not everybody wants to go through that.
Okay, is Sean interrupted again? Okay, so let me like this. Okay, it's back on. So Teresa says, you gave me so much hope when I was going through my moments. Thank you so much for all you do.
Teresa, I love you. You've been in my prayers and continue to be in my prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Continue to spread the word. Be also a heart and a hand to somebody else who needs you, who may need you. Thank you, and God bless you for your life.
I've been running through rain that I thought would never end.